Hey guys, my name is Eve and welcome to today's video. It's that time of year. If you don't know what time of year that is, it's the end of the year. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you every single book that I rated 5 stars this year, and there are a lot. I'm very generous with my 5 stars. I give them out. Willy-nilly. But first I want to talk about the ones that I don't have physically so we can get them out of the way. And the reason I don't have them I'm parched is because I listened to them, and that is the Red Rising trilogy, the original trilogy. Red Rising is by Pierce Brown, I think so. It is about, oh gosh, what is it about? Let's just look it up because I don't feel like coming up with my own description of it right now. It's the greatest time of year and it's here. Okay, I have a very simple description and it says, the novel, set in the future on Mars, follows low-born miner Darrow as he infiltrates the ranks of the elite golds. And basically everyone is separated by a color. So there's like the golds, which are the very top, and then like the reds are the very bottom. And that's what it's all about. It's about, there's lots of war, lots of politics. It's very, very good. I highly recommend it. And then the other one is just Animal Farm, and that's by that one guy who's very famous, and I can't think of his name. George Orwell. That's just about like a farm where the animals have an uprising and they like kick out the humans who live there, and then in the end the animals end up becoming just like the evil humans. So yeah, very good. Let's get into this. So I do have all of my 5 stars in order of like, I don't want to say least favorite to favorite because obviously I love all of them with my whole heart. So basically what I did is I was like, which books would I want to read, or which books would I want to reread the most? And then I just kind of went from that. We're going to start with least favorite and then end with my favorite of the year. So let's get into this. We're going to start off with the whole Percy Jackson series. I never read this when I was a kid, and I just decided to pick it up this year because I found this whole set at a thrift store, and oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Just follows Percy Jackson, who finds out he is a demigod and the son of Poseidon, and he goes to this camp where all the other demigods live at and trains for stuff. And yeah, it's very good. I'm really excited because the first 2 episodes have just come out on Disney Plus of the new series, so I'm definitely gonna watch that. I'm gonna try to go through this quick because when I film videos and they're longer than 15 minutes, my camera literally dies before I can download it. It's just horrible. Anyways, the next one is I read Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is the 5th book in the series. What even happens in this? Lots of stuff happens. Harry Potter is just beautiful and nostalgic, and I love it. The next one I have is Killjoy. This is by Holly Jackson, and this is the it's like the prequel novella for the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and this just follows Pip and her friends, and they are at a murder mystery party, and I just thought it was really, really fun, and I would have loved it if it was way longer. I really enjoyed it. And then the next one is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This follows Pip as she is doing her senior project, and she decides to investigate this murder that happened in her town, and she doesn't believe like the guy who was considered guilty for the murder actually was guilty, and so she just investigates that, and it's super good. I love this series, but this one and Killjoy were the only ones in the series that I rated 5 stars. Next we have The Maidens by Alex, I've heard people pronounce it Michaelides. I don't know. When I look at it, I read Michaelides, but anyways. So The Maidens is about, it says, the Maidens are Cambridge University's most exclusive society, whose members are selected by the charismatic professor of Greek tragedy, Edward Fosca. When one of the maidens is murdered, grieving young therapist Mariana Andros is drawn back to the idyllic campus where she was once herself a student. Because beneath the university's ancient traditions and beauty is a web of secrets, jealousy, and lies. And when the killer threatens the person she loves most, Mariana will give anything to stop them, even her own life. I just ate this up. I read this so fast, and the ending was just absolutely insane. And like the actual murderer, I was like, I did not guess it. It was so good. The next one I have is The Giver. This is by Lois Lowry. This one is about a world where everybody sees in like black and white. Basically, no one knows the past history in the world. And once you turn a certain age, it's like 14 or 15 or something, you get like a role in life to just do for the rest of your life. Basically, it's your career. And the main character in this, Jonah, I think is his name, he becomes the receiver? Gosh, I don't remember. Anyways, the giver ends up giving Jonah all the memories of the past, and it's just really, really good. It like, I have nothing else to say. Anyways, next. Next is The Psalm for the Wild Built. This is about a monk who just goes around making tea for different villages. And in the past, there was like a robotic uprising or something. But yeah, it says it's been centuries since the robots of Panga gained self-awareness and laid down their tools. Centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again. And so basically this tea monk finds a robot, and then they just go on this fun little journey together, and it was so cute, and I loved it so much. It's really short, obviously. The next one is The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is another one that's just very cute, very cozy. Normally, I really genuinely don't like reading cozy books because I like the high stakes stuff. I like being like kept on the edge of my seat, but this one, I listened to it, and the guy who narrated it just did such like a phenomenal job, and the voices he did for the characters was just so sweet. I just absolutely love this. I don't remember if I said who it's by, but it's by TJ Klune. I haven't read any of his other books, and I'm honestly probably not going to, but I just really, really enjoyed this one. The next one is Contagion, and I had never heard of this one before. I just randomly found it at Barnes. This is a sci-fi, and I've talked about it a lot on this channel, but it just says, after receiving an urgent SOS from a work detail on a distant planet, a skeleton crew is dispatched to perform a standard search and rescue mission. But when the crew arrives, they find an abandoned site littered with rotten food, discarded weapons, and dead bodies. As they try to piece together who or what could have decimated an entire operation, they realize that some things are best left buried, and some monsters are only too ready to awaken. This is part of a duology, but I only gave this one a 5-star. The other one I didn't really like so much. But this is just so good. I love sci-fi, and it also is a thriller. So it's just so good. Oh my gosh. The next one is another Alex Michaelides book. And it is The Silent Patient. This is like the most known from him. I think he only actually has these 2 books, and he has another one coming out soon. But anyways, The Silent Patient is about this guy who is like a therapist or psychiatrist. Okay, criminal psychotherapist. And he is like drawn to this woman and becomes her psychotherapist. And apparently she has been found guilty of murdering her husband in like a brutal way, and since she got arrested, she hasn't spoken a word, and it's, oh my gosh, so thrilling. You just, in the end, when you figure out like what's happening, I have never experienced a thriller like that since I read this. This was like my first thriller ever. I like literally want to reread it. It was so freaking good. The next one I have, I actually didn't originally rate this 5 stars, but the more that I think about it, I'm like, I literally loved this. So yes, I'm giving it a 5 stars. That is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. This is about a girl whose touch is lethal. And so she's basically been like ostracized from the community at the beginning, and then she's thrown into like this jail, and the world has been taken over by this certain group, and they take her out of jail, and they're like, you have to work for us. And so good. I've only read this one and then the first novella, but I'm going to get into the next one next month. I promise I'm gonna keep going with the series because I loved it. Next, we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This one, a lot of people didn't like this, and I don't know why, because it was so good. It is about, in this world, they have this competition where they have to like murder each other, and then the winner gets like treasures, and they get to meet the king, and basically their life is changed for the better. And so these 2 main characters enter this competition for their own purposes, and then, wow, okay. It also follows like the prince, and there's this thing that happens in this world where people can jump from their body into another body, and it's very illegal, but the prince does it all the time. Anyways, if any of that sounds interesting to you, you should read this. I loved it, and I don't know if it's gonna be a duology, but there's gonna be more books after this. Next is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This I have also talked about a million bajillion times, but this is about teenage FBI agents who they only work on cold cases. They don't work on like active cases, but they do if you read these, because they always find themselves in crazy situations. And I love this series so far. I've only read the first two, but I know I'm gonna love the rest of it. And then next we have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And this one is, I was gonna say it's the only romance, but I actually have 2 more on this list. But this one is a romance with a little tiny hint of fantasy, and basically this woman's aunt has died and her aunt left her the apartment she lived in for her to live in. And there's a little fun thing that happens in this apartment is sometimes when you go into the apartment, it is 7 years in the past, but only in the apartment. Once you leave, it's back in the present day. So one day she goes into her apartment and there's a man in there and they start a romance, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Please read this. The next I have another Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and that is The Inheritance Games. This is about a girl who inherits like inherits billions of dollars from a man she doesn't even know, and the family is super upset about it. And oh my gosh, it's just so good. So many riddles and games. It's just literally so much fun. I read this book in one day. The whole series is just so freaking good. I love it. There is a little bit of romance in it, but don't expect like much. And then the next one I have is Divine Rivals. This is by Rebecca Ross. This is another one that it almost mainly seems like a historical like fiction romance, but then you remember there's like magical elements in it. I don't know. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So good. It is about this girl, and she works at like a newspaper type of deal, and her brother went off into the war, and it is a war between 2 gods. So you either fight for one god or you fight for the other. So her brother goes to fight for like the woman god, and she starts writing him letters and putting them under her like wardrobe type of deal, but they like get sent out, and she's like, oh my gosh, so they actually did send. But turns out her brother's not getting them, another guy is getting them, and it's the guy who she works with. But so he knows they're writing to each other, but she doesn't know it. That was a horrible description. I'm so sorry, but you should read it. The second book is coming out in a couple days. Next is Catching Fire. Oh my gosh. I knew all the stuff that was gonna happen in this book, but it just gives me chills. I cried multiple times while reading it, even though I knew it was gonna happen. It's just, oh my gosh. I wish I would have read this when I was younger before I saw the movies, because I think it would have changed my life. Like, oh, so freaking good. The next I have a series, and that is the Illuminate files. We have Illuminate, Gemina, and Obsidio. This is a sci-fi series, and how do I even describe this? Each book follows different main characters, but they still have like the older characters in the books, and then like the end brings them all together. I like don't want to say anything because I just want you to read this and go into it blindly. But there's like rogue AI, there's aliens, there's a contagion that breaks out, killing most people. There's time travel, like, oh my gosh, I want to read these. And don't be intimidated by the size, because literally some of the pages just look like, let me find, like this. Like, OMG, I love this series. Next, we have another series I just, for some reason, am obsessed with, and that is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I only gave The Summer I Turned Pretty and will always have Summer 5 stars, because the middle book, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't know. Anyways, but I just am obsessed with this series, and I think about it literally like 3 times a week. Like, it's ridiculous. And I always see stuff on Instagram about it. Like, it's stuck in my brain for forever, and I love it. And I'm probably gonna reread it next summer. I'm just obsessed with it. This follows a girl named Isabella, or Isabel. Sorry, I'm blanking. Anyways, and she goes to stay at the summer house every single summer with her mom's best friend and her sons, and she has a romance with both of them, and it's confusing and crazy and wonderful, and it's just fun. It's just fun. Next, we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and this was the first book that I read this year. And the feelings this gave me, I just loved it. I literally loved it so freaking much. Let me just read the back of it. It says, under the influence of a charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life a world away from their banal contemporaries. But their search for transcendence, for the transcendent, leads them down a dangerous path beyond human constructs of morality. So this is like the OG Dark Academia book. And I found I'm not actually that much of a fan of Dark Academia because nothing is ever gonna be as good as this. And it's just crazy and weird, and the writing is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. Next is the Cruel Prince trilogy. I read this whole series in 1 week and changed my life. Changed my life! This is about Jude, who is a human, but she lives in the fairy world. And what else can I say? Just read it. Just read it. It's so good. The only like actual enemies to lovers I've ever read, but there's barely any romance. It's not a romance series. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. I love it. Next, we have the one, the only Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my gosh. I read this twice this year. This is the only book I've ever read more than once as like an adult. This follows Violet Sorengale, who all she wants in life is to be a scribe, but her mother said, no, you are going to be a dragon rider. And so she goes into the most dangerous school you can go into, which is the Dragon Riders Quadrant. And a third of your class will be dead by graduation. So it just follows her. She is very frail. She has like an issue where like her tendons and ligaments just kind of like don't work. And what I like about this is that, because a lot of times in books it'll be like, she's so weak, but somehow she was the strongest out of all of them. But in this it's like, no, she's very weak, and her body doesn't really get strong, but she still has the baddest dragon in town. Oh, and the romance, it's so good. Literally, don't listen to anyone who hates this book. Also, has dragons on the freaking pages. Y'all, we are down to the final, to the finale. And that is my babies, the Acatar series. So we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, my personal favorite, oh wait, I'll say that for last since it's my favorite, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and then A Court of Wings and Ruin. This series follows Feyre, and she is a human who accidentally kills a high fae, and then she is brought into she's brought to the spring court in like the fairy realm, and she is held there because she killed a fairy, so she has to either be killed or go live with the fae. and she obviously goes to lives with the Fae. And what else can I say? Nothing, because this is the craziest series ever, and I love it with my whole heart, and I always will love it forever and ever, except for A Court of, what's it called? Silver Flames. Because that one just had too much spice in it and I could not stand for it, but I still gave it 4.5 stars. But anyways, yeah, that is it, guys. That is it. Those are all my 5-star reads. I had an absolutely incredible reading year. I'm so excited for all the books I'm gonna read next year. I'm really hoping that I'm gonna get better at YouTube so that it'll grow. I literally, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to post. So if you have any tips, please help me, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But anyways, thank you so much for watching my videos. I have so much fun making them. I don't even know why it's so much fun. It just is. But also, if you want to follow me on my Instagram, it is The Little Reading Lady. I'll just put a little thing here. I love it here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.